Hello everyone, and welcome back to DMG. These two drives are in the exact same chassis, but which one stands out? Which one says, "Look at me"? That's right, the black one. Almost every hard drive on the planet has a silver lid. When it boils down to it, they all look extremely similar. Black body, silver lid, and a couple screws on the side. There's really nothing unique about drives anymore. So, that makes it so awesome when you find one that's actually different. And this is a common drive. This is a WD Caviar. All Caviars actually used to look like this around the mid-2000s, late 90s to mid-2000s. But these are actually pretty common. You can find these blacktop WDs on eBay pretty cheap. But these are just consumer drives. I mean, it's not like they ever made blacktop server drives or anything. Right? Wrong! This is something I didn't even know existed until 2 days ago when I picked it out of an e-waste PC, and it is my new favorite thing. This is the gorgeous blacktop WD RE2. Now, I have a ton of RE3 drives. Let me find one. Yeah, I have a bunch of RE3 drives, but this looks almost nothing like them. Here's an RE3, here's an RE2. Now, this is called a Caviar RE2. And this drive, from a few years later, totally drops the Caviar name, just being WD RE3 Enterprise Storage. So this was kind of the prosumer drive, and this, in the RE3 generation, is when they moved to being server drives. So, on the inside, I bet this drive will be a nice hybrid of consumer drive and server drive. Now, unfortunately, I would love to use this drive, but it doesn't work. Let's see, what's the date? January 2007, so this drive is, wow, it's actually a couple months older than I am. Damn, okay. These old WD drives have these little stickers to cover the screws. I'm not sure why. I think it's only for aesthetic purposes, because, yeah, it actually does look pretty nice on these blacktop drives to have the screws covered. Also, when the screws are covered, I feel like for a regular user it would be a lot less alluring to just stick a screwdriver in there and go to town, because you wouldn't believe how many posts I see on tech support forums that are like, "I disassembled my hard drive and now it's not working. What can I do? I cleaned the platters with soap and water." Like that, there are many legitimate topics of people who take apart a hard drive, break it, and then wonder why it doesn't work, thinking that it works like a CD drive, you know, where you can just touch the media. Alright. Oh, you know what I should... Oh, jeez. That is a lot heavier than I expected. I mean, yeah, of course I picked it up before, but, like, I was expecting Caviar weight for some reason. This is way heavier. You can see by just how thick this drive is that it probably has a lot of platters. I'm expecting 4 at minimum, probably 5. But I'm going to pop the screws on the controller board out. The RE3 series used a single chip to do ROMs, I believe, plus cache and controller. And that highly integrated solution can actually give you faster speeds, but it can be bothersome to replace. Okay, it uses the pad that old WD drives use. No, we have a separate controller. So here's our controller, here's our cache. How much cache do we have? That is a Samsung 16 megabyte. And here is our motor control. Copyright 2005, so they were making these as early as 2005. Then here's our ROM. Or is that our ROM? Yeah, that's our ROM, and that's just some power delivery, and that's the fuse. Yeah, that is pretty sweet. Yeah. Anything? Nope. Other than our big air filter kind of seal thing. Oh, and it has the same seal as some Caviars. I see 2 platters in there already. Now, this series of Caviar drives, or just WDs in general, had massive spacing between the platters. The platters were like 3 miles apart. So, there might not even be that many platters in there. I pulled this out of an old AMD Athlon X2 system. Sorry, Athlon 64 X2. It was an old compact PC. And it had a sticky note on it reading, "Just beeps, doesn't boot." So, you know, that was a system I decided it wasn't even worth bringing home. I just took out the CPU, the RAM, and the drive, because, you know, those compact systems aren't really, you can't do much with them. Did I miss one? Yes, I missed one. Which, you know, it's always unpleasant to leave something behind, but when you are like me, you live in a small room, and you already have a lot of computers, you have to think, what will I use this for? Would I rather this be responsibly recycled, or would I rather it just sit in my room and do nothing? Anyway, let's pop this drive open. It's a shame this is dead again. Oh, yes, sneaky WD. Okay, and out that comes. Wow. Yeah. Alright, I'll open that on camera. Just 4 platters! All that for 4 platters! As I said earlier, the spacing on these old WD drives is very wide. So that means we have 500/8 per platter in terms of gigabytes. Well, per side, per platter. So 500/8 is about 60, 65? I'll just pick 63. I'll say it's 63 gigabytes per side per platter. Now here, that's interesting, we have a landing zone drive. I believe the RE3 series is actually load ramp, and load ramp drives are far superior. We have 2 filters, like any proper server drive should have more than 1 filter, and having that many filters is always beneficial. Here we have, these are to guide airflow or even out vibration or even out weight to even out vibration or airflow, those plates there. You know what, let me just grab an RE3. Now, I disassembled these months ago. They've just been chilling on my bathroom shelf ever since because I think they look cool and I like looking at myself when I'm getting dressed in the morning in the hard drive because it's funny. So here's a, this is a 500 gigabyte RE2, and here's a 500 gigabyte RE3. The RE2 has 2 platters for 500 gigs, and the RE3 has 4 platters for 500 gigs. The case is also very different on the bottom, but they have the same filter hole on the side, the same Caviar-esque hole there. Now, the RE3 is missing its filter up here, the extra filter, but the 1 terabyte RE3 actually had that extra filter. Now, this has 3 platters for 1 terabyte, and the platters are a lot thicker than the RE2. Just take a look at how thick those platters are in comparison to the RE2 over here. So, between the 2 drives, oh yeah, so the RE3 500 gig has the same little bit here, the same baffle, but it's plastic instead of metal like the RE2, and this is actual metal. These are nice baffles, and yeah. The head mechanism is near identical across all of them, but it has a... Oh yeah! So this one is different at the bottom. We can see it has that little plastic piece down here, and that is part of the locking mechanism that keeps it from flopping around and moving and scratching the platter when it's parked. Because the biggest difference between these drives is that this is landing zone, which means it parks the head on the platter when not in use, and this is parked off platter and uses load ramps, which is this orange bit right here. As a generalization, this is more secure, this is faster, because the heads are already on the platter, they just need to spin up to speed. This, the platters have to spin up to speed, and then this has to move on, which, you know, it takes like half a second more, but still, that can increase your first access times. Yeah, these drives are actually pretty similar on the inside. It's an interesting blend. Oh yeah, by the way, the magnets in the 500 gig RE2 and RE3 are the same. Almost exactly the same. On the 1 terabyte RE3, those are a tiny bit different. But yeah, these are extremely similar drives. Makes sense because the date codes on these drives are only 2 years apart, so I would expect them to be pretty similar. But that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this quick look at a pretty uncommon black WD server drive. And that's it for this video. As always, tons of hard drive and other technology content on this channel. So if this interests you, go check it out. You might like it. That's it for this one. Thanks everyone for watching, and I hope to see you next video.